Because for a lot of people, when you ask them what's the best financial decision you ever taken,
you say I
I invested this, right? Or I made this investment, or I made that investment, right? But the best financial decision I made was to get financial advice. At the end of the day, aid is not going to it's not what will put people out of poverty. It's knowledge. It's the same way how someone who wins a lottery, if the person is not financially wise or financially independent, within the next 3-4 years, person will go back to it will look like nothing ever happened to him. So when I see a lot of brands still doing, especially financial institutions still doing a lot of aid work, I struggle, because how don't you see that aid wouldn't do it? If you are making so much money and you do not know how to use that money, manage it and multiply it, there is a problem, because you keep striving for more, but you can't retain that more because you don't have the knowledge to hold on to it.
It doesn't matter what you studied in school or how much you're making currently. If you don't understand how money works, how to make money, save money, spend money, and invest money, you might just be poor forever. Today, I'm having a conversation with Frank Samuel. He's a financial fitness coach, the lead and the founder of Financial Fitness Clinic Nigeria. And so over the years, they've done webinars and events across Nigeria, impacting thousands and thousands of people in and out of Nigeria concerning the topic of financial education and financial freedom. If you love this kind of stuff, you would want to stay for this video, because we dished a lot of things in this video. We're having this amazing conversation at Cafe One, Lekki, Lagos. Cafe One offers one of the best coffees in Nigeria, and they also offer co-working spaces for freelancers who want good power supply and amazing internet services. Visit their Instagram page to know more about them.
What do you think is the best financial decision you ever taken?
Best financial decision I've ever taken was to have financial advice.
You paid for it?
I didn't pay for it.
Okay, to have financial
advice,
okay,
to get financial advice. So that was the best decision, rather than just acting on my own. Because for a lot of people, when you ask them what's the best financial decision you ever taken,
you say
I invested this, right? Or I made this investment, or I made that investment, right? But the best financial decision I made was to get financial advice. And that's the best thing that any person who doesn't have a clue, especially when you did not encounter it while growing up, where you didn't experience at home anybody talking about savings or investment, all of that wasn't mentioned, and then you now get to the point where you need to start taking control of your finances, right? The best thing you can do is to get advice, and it's going to ensure that you minimize the level of mistakes you make when you're trying to experiment on your own, right? So for someone who, yes, there are people who can sit on their own and then just stumble upon a decision and say, okay, this is just what I want to do, and then it works out fine. But for a lot of people, which are the majority, they have to learn on the way, and that learning on the way would have been avoided if they sought for advice. So I think that's the best decision I made, seeking for financial advice.
Do you think there's hope for Nigerians' finance? And if there is, don't really think, but if there is, what do you think the government can do? So let me just give so I was, coincidentally, while I was coming here, I was watching this video. One guy was narrating the whole fuel subsidy something, how he started, the first person that ever increased fuel down to, and I was just like, wow, so fuel was in Kobo before. And I'm now wondering, we've come so far, only to now even realize that I bought fuel recently 1,100, and in Lagos, I heard that there are people, like in Port Harcourt, you buy for 1,300.
Yes, far not, you're buying as much as 1,500 or 1,700. I was not too long ago, and when fuel was somewhere around 700, 800, they said for 1,300 over there.
And that's not even where I'm coming to. Where I'm coming to is that now we're growing into the 1,000s. Meanwhile, last year, we were back
at this time last year, it was somewhere around 200.
No, it's not at this time last year. At this time last year, but Tinubu has already been.
As at this time last year, no.
I was not buying for it.
Okay, okay, actually, yes, he had.
Exactly, I think that's the first thing.
That's first.
He just
first subsidy is gone. The thing about fuel is, because it's an important part of our energy, part of our energy needs as humans, right? And which is as a result of our grid not working, the power grid not
Yeah.
working, right? People have gotten to using fuel for every part of their life, their businesses, their homes, their cars, their lifestyle depends on it. So if for any reason there's going to be an increase in fuel, that alone will affect
the whole economy.
the entire system. It's not like a system where some systems are running on fuel, some are running on gas, or some are running on some form of renewable energy. Everything is on fuel. So if for any reason that there's 1 naira increase, everywhere will feel the impact. But as regards to Nigerians and their finances, looking into what has happened, is there any hope? The truth is, if there is one thing Nigeria is blessed with enormous talent. And when I mean talent, I don't mean skill or giftings or abilities or we are very ingenious in this country. Like we come up with the craziest of ideas, which sometimes can make sense, sometimes cannot. Right?
Yeah.
But when I mean talent, I mean our population is a gift. And there's a lot that if the people who are in charge of making policies can see how that population can be turned into our biggest resource, our biggest economic power, right? There's a lot we can do. I'll just share an instance. So a lot of companies have come into Nigeria to source for talent, whether remotely or on site.
Yeah.
And one thing that they found is that because of the economic level of the country, it's easy for them to pay not so much as what they pay, in the Western world or in the Eastern world, but they will still get quality talent, and people would appreciate what they are being paid.
Yeah.
Right. So there are lots of companies that need, like, if they look into in the manufacturing sense, in the customer service, now AI is becoming a thing, and you need people who are going to input that data for the language model to pull up the resources when being asked.
Yeah.
So if we see our population actually a resource. So what I think young Nigerians can do is, what opportunities can I tap into that is outside of my immediate environment for me to make the best use of my time? And because content is a big thing. Nigerians are very great in content. We generate a lot of content, but we don't know the business of content.
Okay.
If Nigerians can understand the business of content, a lot of content makers, whether on TikTok, whether on Snapchat, wherever they are, they'll make more money than they're making now. That's one. Two, Nigerians, like I said, are very industrious, and for a lot of time, we find people who have several giftings, abilities that they can monetize, but they feel it will not. Why will I be doing this kind of thing? But it's legal. As far as it is legal and you have the time. So I have a friend who the wife is a baker.
Okay.
And she's a baker and a banker. Now she works in the bank 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Okay.
But with what has been happening in recent times, she has told me that I can bake. And people in her office, they buy confectionaries every single day of the week.
Okay.
So she has seen the opportunity for her to pull out that skill that she felt wouldn't make sense at the start. And now she makes money in hundreds of thousands every single week.
From baking
for her colleagues.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So it's not a thing of everybody, whatever it is you have, as far as it is legal and you can monetize it, please do.
I swear, like,
please do. If you work in a tech company and you can do graphic design, find people who need graphic designs and do it and make money.
Yeah.
If you work in say, whether it's not even in fashion, you don't necessarily need to work in fashion. If you work in, I'm trying to find another example. So let's say you work in finance and investment, or you work in law. Or if there is whatever corporate profession career path you find yourself, if there's something else, that you know you are
can
skilled
do.
at, please do. This guy, Abaje, I think it's Timmy Abaje, that is his name. He's a content creator.
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
But he's a lawyer.
So he creates content.
He creates content even around his own profession.
Yeah, and he's
of
just
course
like also Aproko Doctor. I think there's another entertainer. Aproko Doctor is giving rise to like a lot of professional content creators. So like you're doing this professional, you're giving people advice in terms of
exactly. So as far as you can talk, put camera in front of your face and start doing it.
Yeah.
No. And the funny thing is, they still have their 9 to 5. It's not suffering.
Yeah.
Their 9 to 5 daily jobs are not
because
suffering.
it's still in line with what
you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
It's even making you research more about that field.
Actually, however, there are people who what they can do is not around what their career is, like what they are doing 9 to 5, and that's still completely fine. Because the truth is, when you get yourself into a space where you need to maximize every moment to transform your economic realities, you reduce the time you waste on unnecessary things. And I think that's something this period is teaching a lot of people. So you find them focusing more on the things that matter, that would ensure that their economic reality is a lot better than just any random activity. Because right now, when they say time is money, a lot of times we don't understand it. But right now, time is the actual money, because if you have the time to do, a lot of people are wishing that they have the time to explore their other giftings, maximize it, monetize it, and then make it a lot more, but they can't. So anybody who can at this time and phase of his life should please do it, because nobody's going to save you.
Saying that you're somebody that is not practicing what they studied in school.
Yeah.
What would you advise to somebody that is in school and has found another interest in something that is not in alignment with what the person studying in school, and possibly they started making money from it? What would you advise to that kind of person?
Okay, so every young person, especially in this part of the world or any part of the world, their tendencies to find something much more interesting than when you're studying, because at a particular phase of your life, that was all you knew about life and what would come out of your life. So you're like, okay, fine, let me make sense out of it using this kind of degree as a route, right? And since that didn't happen, and you're finding something a lot more interesting, pursue your passion, right? But as I would advise, it's my own advice to any young person, ensure that you do not fail in school because of the passion you're pursuing, because the truth is, it's a part of your story. It's a part of your story, and it wouldn't be nice if when your story is being told, it was said you didn't perform excellently while in that phase of your life. So it's more like I'm in a profession and say I want to start a business, I want to go into, maybe I want to have a startup or something. It wouldn't mean I have to fail at my job so that they will sack me and then then go and begin to do business. Even if at the end of the day I succeed while running the startup, when my story is being told and it comes to that phase of my career, what's going to be said about it, right? Is it going to be said that, oh, he made excellent use of that phase of his life, or he just wanted to just get along and he acted miserably and
just so
he can just go on and do what he wants to do, right? It wouldn't make sense to say, oh, they sacked him because of financial misappropriation or because of bad habits or bad character while in the office, right? It would make sense that I leave a clean slate there, and then when my story is being told, even while running the business, it makes sense that everything turns out really, really fine.
What was your goal when starting FFC, and how far do you think you've come with that goal? In addition, what should we expect next from FFC?
Okay. Now, this point, I didn't want to divulge into about that question. Okay, so FFC so far has been a revealing journey for me. It has given me the opportunity to know more about myself and to develop a thicker skin to life. When we started, this was 2020. The original idea at the start was to create a platform where I help young people avoid getting scammed,
Wow.
getting involved in dubious investment schemes and losing their money. That was the original idea. Because at the time, I was in hospital, and this was within the first 3 months of COVID, not due to COVID. I was I did not get the virus. But within that, while I was about leaving the hospital, I noticed there were lots of different kind of investment schemes at the time.
Yeah.
And people were
People
out of their desire to just make more out of the situation, since they couldn't go to work, were falling victims for all of these scams. And it was a concern to me because in various platforms that I was in at the time, I was always giving advice that, oh, this one, don't do it. Where are they making their money? You don't have an idea where they are making their money.
Yeah.
So why are you putting your money into it? What exactly is your money going to do? Your money is just going to be paying someone else, and then you're waiting until there's someone else that falls victim so that they can pay you. And if you don't find anybody, they literally have to go down and your money goes. So it was a lot of advice after advice in different communities and platforms I was involved in at the time. And so I decided to create my own platform to deal with that issue. And that was how we started June 2020. When we started, there was no long-term goal at the start. And this is something that I would say, because if a lot of people were telling them, oh, you started the brand, they tell you, oh, they had a vision from the start and all that. No. It wasn't immediate. I wanted to deal with that issue at the time. And I noticed that one session or one webinar wouldn't do it. After we're done with the first one, June 2020, I noticed that wouldn't solve the problem, because this kind of I'm trying to transform their habits. I'm trying to create a new culture. I'm trying to shape culture. And when you're trying to shape culture, it takes time. So I decided with my team that we're going to continue this every month. Let's see how long we can go, and let's see how many people we can impact. Then we continued month after month. We held the session in July 2020, August, right up till March 2021. And as of March 2021, I was back in school for my final year. And then we looked at it, and that was when we decided to now set up, okay, what exactly would our vision be? What exactly would our mission be? What exactly is the overall goal? What's the target long term? Because at the time, it was, let's just keep going and see how many people we can impact. At the time, as at that March 2021, I had impacted not less than 2,000 people from about 11 countries. Wow. All young Africans, by the way, because that's our focus, all young Africans. And that impacted people across 4 continents. If I remember, I know we had people who were attending from Canada, we had people who were attending from Africa, obviously, we had people from Europe, and so Europe, North America, and Asia.
And Africa.
And Africa. So 4 at the time. So it was, we're looking at, okay, how do we make this, how do we impact more people? Because the goal was now to impact 10 million young Africans by the year 2030. And this is 2021. So we had 10 years to find a way to know.
So you started when?
So 2020, started 2020. So by 2030, that's a goal that would have impacted 10 million young Africans, yes. So this was 2021 March. And that's when we set up this target for ourselves. Knowing that, we're like, these are Monday webinars, won't cut it. How are we going, except we are hitting thousands of people per webinar. So that was when we thought of the conference, that it was going to be a way to impact more people in one time at a go. Right? And that was when we decided to plan the first financial fitness conference in Owerri 2021. When we did that, it was a learning experience for me, because I had been involved in, organizing conferences, seminars, but this was the first time that I was doing something that I was heading, like I'm the head of whatever is going on. And it was pretty interesting experience getting to lead a team of amazing volunteers. And we put it off May 29th, by God's grace, May 29th, 2021. Despite at the time there was the whole banditry thing happening around Southeast, unknown gunmen and whatever. It even affected a couple of our speakers coming all the way down to Southeast for the conference. But it was a huge success. We had over 2,000, about 2,700 people in attendance. So for us, you're doing 2,700 and you had just done 2,000 over a period of 6, 7, 8 months. So it means that exactly. More, yeah. So we need to do more of this kind of events so that we can reach more people. And then with that, we continue our monthly webinars. After a while, like I said, you're trying to shape culture. You're trying to transform people's habits. So we decided to now create what was called a mentorship program. So 3 months. So for 3 months, I have the opportunity to school you, to teach you, to train you, to watch your habits, to give you more information, to read books. I have that time. So we decided to start the 3 months mentorship program after the conference in Owerri. And it was accepted, it was well accepted. Because for a lot of people, I had concerns from them that, I learned this in this webinar. I'm looking forward to learn something else in another one, because for them, they see that, this thing makes sense. And if they apply it, they see that difference around their finances. And so that's where the mentorship platform began. Then after that, 2022, we thought of it that, for me, Port Harcourt was my home. Was where I grew up in, not Owerri, where a lot of people knew me because of the fact that I had some level of influence, the whole students union thing in Owerri. But Port Harcourt was my home. People knew me in Port Harcourt because of church, because I was involved in a lot of leadership roles while in Port Harcourt before I got into school. So it made sense for me to do something in my home. And at that period was when I was also transitioning to staying full-time in Lagos. So I need to do something at home before eventually saying, okay, goodbye. And then that was when we decided to do Financial Fitness Conference, Port Harcourt. And it was a great experience doing that. For me, one thing I learned was we need to find ways to empower women to lead. It was the first time, but I was ready to challenge myself.
So you got to learn that
Yes, why put it together that conference, because we had a lot of female leads for FFC Port Harcourt. We had a lot of female leads, and the lead volunteer was even a woman. So I was challenging myself, to see that, women can also deliver when it comes to getting the job done. And I really enjoyed that experience. And that's why, now the one we want to do next year, March 2024, in a way, is a woman that is leading. And I'm very, very confident that she'll get the job done.
So we're expecting FFC in Owerri.
FFC Owerri, yes, FFC Owerri. We are going back to Owerri, March 2024. We just did Akure, just August, about a few months ago, and it was pretty interesting. I looked forward to do something in Southwest, but not Lagos for the start, because I knew Lagos is an interesting territory, and you need to have a strong foothold in the territory before you can, except you just want to do something small, and I don't want to do anything small. Looking at the scale of what we want to do within the next 10 years, anywhere where we are hitting a target, we should hit it really big, so that we know that we are
getting so that you achieve the amount of people
achieving our goal. So far we've trained, we've taught, I think we've done over 36,000 now. Wow. And we've had people from multiple countries that I can count. Right now, we are already putting together a virtual webinar for our community in Cameroon. And for that one alone, we've had 3 new countries enter into our list of young Africans who are looking forward to being impacted by the work we do. We've had people from France, one from Ivory Coast, and French-speaking countries. And now I'm like, okay, I have to go and learn a little bit of French so that I don't look really odd in the conversation. Because now we are not having a lot of French-speaking people join our community. So Yes, I'm looking forward. So there's a lot to look for from us. There's a lot. We're obviously going to go outside of Nigeria to do our events, and it's going to happen in when the time is right. But sure, if it's for us to achieve our goal, whatever form of collaborations, partnerships that we'll do, we are going to get it done.
Okay. So, like during these events, have you been having like partnerships on brands and all?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We've had quite a number of interesting collaborations with a number of especially fintech brands.
Yeah.
We've had with Roku, we've had with Busha, we've had with BitNob, and we've also had interesting partnerships from certain personalities. We've had people who have put their brand on the line to ensure that our events are a success, and it has been an interesting journey, especially working with different people from different walks of life, because at the end of the day, everyone wants economic prosperity. It's a big deal for them. Economic prosperity is a big deal for them, and especially for someone like Africa, where you are dealing with the poorest population in the world, you're dealing with record levels of poverty. At the end of the day, aid is not what will put people out of poverty. It's knowledge.
Yeah.
I think
you can give and give and
you can
but
give
you
and
still
give
keep on
and give,
giving.
but exactly. It's the same way how someone who wins a lottery, if the person doesn't have is not financially wise or financially independent, within the next 3-4 years, person will go back to, it will look like nothing ever happened to him, because it doesn't do it. Just stumbling into money or riches doesn't eventually guarantee sustainable wealth. So it's not age that will help us. Is so when it's information. So when I see a lot of brands still doing, especially financial institutions, still doing a lot of aid work and not focusing on education, I struggle, because how don't you see that aid wouldn't do it? Yes, you can put both together, and the truth is, it wouldn't cost you anything extra to have education together with the aid.
Yeah.
So if you're focused on doing the aid, all fine and good. But while that aid is happening, let financial education be going with it, because that is exactly what will bring them out of the poverty. Because someone can get into a point where he's making more, and yes, a lot of people say that your income is your major wealth driver, and I don't disagree. But if you are making so much money and you do not know how to use that money, manage it and multiply it, there is a problem, because you will keep striving for more, but you can't retain that more because you don't have the knowledge to hold on to it. So it's just a thing of we've had the opportunity. We are looking forward to partner with a lot more brands, whether they are development financial institutions, whether they are banks, whether they are NGOs, whether they are grants giving organizations, whether they are foundations, whether Dangote Foundation, MasterCard Foundation. I'm calling them out now so that But yeah, we are completely open and willing, to partner with all of these people, because what we are doing is, a lot of the work we do are free. A lot of the work, we put our own finances on the line for all of our conferences. We've not had any sponsor that is funding more than 60% of the conference. So our resources, a lot of the time, are from 40% and above. When the first one was 100% our personal resources, we had no funding for that one. But going forward, we've had a couple of them. But at the end of the day, our personal resources cover at least 40% of. So we are not doing it just because we have some form of financial gain at the end of the day. It's so that we see our continent transform. We see it, because if we are able to impact young people who form 60% of Africa's population right now, within the next 10-20 years, the conversation is going to be not just the poorest continent. If we don't shape this culture around our finance, not just going to be the poorest continent, but the poorest working class continent. That's what Africa is going to look like. It's going to be the poorest working class, because right now it's a thing of poor people, and a lot of them are young. So you can't really say that they are very poor like that until they get into the age where they have their
working and nothing is coming out.
Exactly.
That's
So
going to
we
be very
should,
sad.
if we are going to transform that narrative about Africa, then we need to invest a lot in financial education, especially for young people.
Okay, so let me just say this as we finish this conversation about FFC. So one thing that I would say FFC did for me is because when I attended FFC in 2022,
Yeah.
I just wanted to attend an event. You
Yeah.
know, it was finance. Wow, nice. But if there's one thing I say I can pick out of that event, maybe if I attend another FFC now, I'm more intelligible now.
Yeah.
I'll grab a lot of things and I'll take more actions. That's another thing. So I'll take more actions. But if there's anything that it taught me is that money is something that needs to be studied. You know, because we grew up in a society where like we don't you go to school to learn how to walk.
Yeah.
We learn scriptures. We learn a lot of things, but we don't learn about money. Meanwhile,
It's money that
running
catalyzes all of these things.
like we don't learn about. So it now got me interested in reading books, taking finance, what are they calling it, classes, or what are they call
Courses?
podcasts,
Yeah.
listening to all these finance podcasts, listening to podcasts like Founders Connect,
Yeah.
and whatnot, because I now realize that there are things that these people have been doing. Because when I hear people say I started from nothing, now I'm here, it's not, there's grace. So but they don't just, even if they stumble on the money, some of them don't stumble on the money.
A lot of them don't stumble.
Yeah, a lot of them.
When you look at the statistics, right? When you look at statistics, less than 10% of them actually like stumbled on the money. And that 10% includes those that had inheritance.
Yeah.
Includes those that has inheritance.
Yeah.
Recently, there was a Forbes post that said that billionaires, that there's no billionaire above the age of 40, above the age of 30 today. There's none that had generational wealth backing them.
Wow.
There's none above the age of 30. So there are billionaires that are less than 30 years, which is generational wealth.
Yeah.
But above the, so when you look at the number of how many dollar billionaires we have in our world today, how many of them are under 30? You know that the guys under 30 are the minority. So at the end of the day, those who stumble on it, maybe out of inheritance, maybe out of a miracle, whatever, they remain in the minority.
Yeah.
And if they don't have the intelligence to grow it, it will fizzle out.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So before we go, I just want to know, what's one thing you're learning recently and you want people to know?
one thing I'm learning recently is, it's been tough learning it, but obviously I had to, is empathy. Being putting yourself in other people's shoes. When I started even my own brand,
Especially because you're an instructor.
not just because I'm an instructor, but I had to learn it over time. When I started, a lot of the time I talk from the point of not experiencing certain things that people are going through, not experiencing ever being in debt, not experiencing the fact that there's something called black tax, not experiencing. There are a lot of things I was not experiencing when I started. But over time, I'm going to understand that there are a lot of things that people are experiencing. So if you're trying to shape their attitude towards a concept you believe, you need to come down to them. And I've had to learn it personally. I've had to figure out my way around black tax and still saving. I've had to figure out my way around, using a loan to, do much more. Because a lot of people see loan as bad. Anything loan, loan, I don't want to take and whatever. I can't have it. I say I'm in debt.
Yeah.
No, it's not possible. But you can use it to finance, things that would eventually bring in more. As far as you understand how the numbers work, that obviously the interest on your debt has to be less than what you're making and all of that. Once you understand all of that, it's easy to say, okay, I'll be proud about it. After all, Dangote is in billions of dollars of debt. Yeah, he's still the wealthiest man in Africa. Nobody's people still aspire to be like him. So you aspire to be like someone who is in debt.
Yeah, I think Olushola once. Do you know Olushola?
Yeah, Dupe Olusola.
Okay. No.
Catalyst.
Pastor Olushola.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. CCI. Okay.
Yeah, Olushola once said, "The Olushola, he's
Yeah.
my pastor. He's my resident pastor."
Yeah, so I know. So when you say Olusola, the first person that enters my mind is the Catalyst, the part of Fela Drote, and then his wife, Dupe, who is the head of Transcorp Hotels. So when I say okay, so I'm like trying to think of all the Olusholas in my list, and then the Olushola,
So,
yes.
I'm usually around CCI people, so when I
Yeah.
said Olushola,
Like,
just
yeah.
So Pastor Olushola once said that you don't build a business with your own money. You build with other people's money. I think it also comes from the fact that a lot
No,
of
start with your own
Nigerians.
money.
No, you start with your own
Start
money.
with your money, but build
I
up.
think it also comes from the fact that a lot of Nigerians have this mentality that, you know, have to struggle and strive, and also there's also this vibe of separating yourself from your business, where you see that your business is different from you.
Yeah.
So when you now have to realize that this money that is for me, I'm not supposed to put it in my business. I can bring money from somewhere else, put this in my business, and finance it. So
yeah, so
then that's like
so
bring
is
profit
that
and
is understanding is trying to put a structure around your business. I think structure sort of solves a lot of it, because you need to understand that this business, when starting out, obviously, you know, your money has to go in,
Yeah.
and for quite a while, your money has to go in. But when you put structure around it, and then you understand the business of that business,
yeah,
financial sustainability for the business is key, and that's something you should ensure, so that your money doesn't keep going into it. Because the thing is, when your money keeps going into it, you're changing other areas of your life that should help you to
become a
better person. You're changing other areas of your life. Money that you would have used to maybe go on a vacation, research, reflect, and all of those things. You're pumping more into the business and say, I'm building a business. This business doesn't need to work. The problem is you've not figured out that the financial sustainability part for that business. And when you've not figured it out, you keep pumping more money into it. So I just think it's a thing of finding people structure around the seeing how you understand the business of your business, ensure that it makes profits, and then growing it going forward. So yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you so much, Frank, for having this.
Thank you so much.
We've come to the end. Hi guys. So please, if you've watched up to this extent, I'd like you to share this video to somebody that might need this financial advice. And I'll keep some links in my description on how you can, benefit from what FFC is doing.
Absolutely.
Subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you see more videos. And if you like these videos, you like other videos that's going to be displayed on your screen where I had interviews with other people. Have an amazing day.
All right.